Feels like a big weekend, this, Dev. How can you look forward to it? Is that a weird thing to say to start this interview?
Yeah, of course. I feel like in moments like this, you got to roll your sleeves up. Um, Personally, I feel confident, and you have to take in any sort of positive feeling you can get from around the place and take it in with you into the weekend.
I guess from the outside looking in, it's easy to say, where does that confidence come from? But I guess, particularly at home, the form you've had in the last 4 games must give you a lot of that.
Yeah.
What's changed in terms of those home results, if not performances?
I think throughout the season we've been probably missing a little bit of luck, and we've managed to get that. We've managed to score more goals. I think personally, people have looked at themselves in the mirror and found that extra 5% that we've maybe been lacking in a lot of games because we've lost a lot of games 1-0. And I feel like we should have way more wins than we do. We're currently in the situation we're in. We're under no real illusions of what that looks like. And we knew sort of coming into this final stretch that we'd have to win our home games to kind of stand any chance of keeping ourselves in the league.
Those looking yourselves in the mirror moments, is that something that happens for each individual? Is that something that you've discussed as a group in the changing room, in the car, coming back from training? Is it a bit of a mixture?
Yeah, I feel like every individual's different. Personally, after every game, I'll look at myself in the mirror and if I know I didn't give 100%, which is rare, then I'd sort of have to question myself. As a team, when the form isn't great, we'd kind of hold meetings between ourselves to kind of speak about what's at stake here, and understand how it is that we can be in this position and kind of how to get out of it as well.
It's something that I imagine is strange because as a young footballer, you're good at football. You're always kind of going to be amongst the best of the people that you're playing with. As a professional, to be in a relegation position, to be losing regularly, how difficult is that? Is that a culture shock? Is that something that a lot of players perhaps aren't used to?
Yeah. It's a weird feeling. Especially sort of from last season. At the start of the season, we had a really good winning run. So the players that were here from last year, we were used to winning a lot. So it's been a massive crossover into this season when you're not winning as much, and losing can become a habit, and you have to be very careful and try and stay away from it. But at the same time, all it takes is a few games, and if you get into a winning run, then that can also become a habit, and that's the habit that you want.
Is it difficult? I remember sitting in here with Jamie Stott a couple of weeks ago and he said we should be taking it home. It should be affecting our sort of personal lives and our lives away from football. Is it hard to have that work-life balance when you feel what it means to people to be down where you are?
Yeah, of course. I mean, because when a lot of us here, I can probably speak for everyone, in the change room, we're all playing for the club, the badge, the family, the community. So we hold it close to us, and a loss really feels like a loss. And for me personally, it's when we lose, I can't really have any fun outside of the workplace. When we get it right and we're winning, it's a happier place, but we know what's at stake. There's jobs. There's so many good people that work in this football club. It's a great club. It's a great community, and we have one job, and that's to keep the club in this league.
Do you think you'll need to win all these remaining home games?
That would be a good start. Yeah. I mean, I think if we do, then we'll stay up, I believe personally. But yeah, we have to aim to win them all, and we definitely can.
This weekend, not just the fact that you're playing the team immediately below you, the two teams above you play each other as well.
Yeah.
Do you want to know what goes on in that game when you're out there on the pitch?
Not necessarily, no. I think the last few weeks, Tranmere have played a day before us, and they had an early kickoff. And not to say it affects me, but I'd imagine it affects some players. Because if you see them win, then that may sort of put you down mentally. If you see them lose, it could work in the opposite way. So for me personally, I don't really care, because I believe if we do our job, then eventually everything will take care of itself. So I look within first and foremost.
I'm sure you look at the end though. I'm sure the table is something that you guys are very well aware of.
Yeah, of course. I mean, sort of after every game, people will have a quick look. And then obviously it's like you want to be creeping up the table. So after every game, we have a quick check and then it's back to the drawing board.
We have this phrase, don't we, the old 6-pointer. I think this weekend demonstrates that, because that gap could potentially be quite a bit bigger, but it could also be half, depending on the two results.
Yeah.
Do you just have to have the positive mindset? Do you have to just look at, we'll do our job, beat Carlisle, and then see what the other game brings us?
Yeah, literally that. I feel as though in games like these, you just have to pick up as many points as you can, regardless of what happens in the other games. You can't affect that, so you have to control the controllables. If we win all our remaining games this year and it's not the happy ending, then at least you can look yourself in the mirror and say we tried everything that we could do. But yeah, I'm pretty sure that we'll be looking at ourselves and trying to take care of Carlisle, which will be a tough test.
It's obviously geographically one of the closer clubs to Morecambe, one of the more sort of derby atmospheres. I imagine that'll be reflected out there in the stands, and you'll be able to hear it on the pitch. It is so important to both clubs. Does that add something? Is that going to make it a better atmosphere, a more important occasion?
Yeah, I'd imagine so. We played against them on Boxing Day, and I'd imagine it would be a sort of similar atmosphere, because we were in the same position then as well. But they're a good team, and I feel like the atmosphere, there'll probably be a little bit of nervousness out there from both sides, which is normal. But we both know what's at stake. So, we'll sort of both be trying to get the 3 points, but we just have to make sure that we're the team on form on the day.
And we've talked about the little run that you are on at home, 4 games unbeaten, 3 wins from the 4. What would you say to your supporters? Because you mentioned nervousness there. I'm sure they'll be more confident because of the form you've been in, but they're human, they'll be nervous. How much can they help you? What can they do to make this task that little bit easier for you, or that little bit more comfortable for you?
There are talks, man, every single home game, every single away game. So there's nothing I could say to them that they don't already do for us every single week. And us as players know that. Every time we turn up at this ground, they're always there in full voice. So they'll be there giving us 100%, and we have to make sure that we don't let them down.
Do you think the adversity, both in the league table and obviously with off the pitch, do you think that breeds togetherness, not just between players, but between people at the club and the fans?
For sure. Like I said, there's some amazing people at this club, and obviously some that I don't know personally, but there are some amazing people that work at this football club, and the sort of family environment. It's a pleasure to play for this football club. So yeah, the aim is to stick together and get ourselves out of this mess.
Get money for your old phone.